drinking ice.
All right. Good evening to all the venerable monks and nuns. Good evening to our lay devotees and friends. First of all, I would like to wish all of you a happy new year with the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. May this new year, conventional new year, bring you all happiness, health, and safety. And this is my kindful wish for all of you. So let us begin our bi-weekly sutta discussion by paying respect and homage to the Buddha. Let us recite Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my respect and homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Buddha. Dear venerable sirs, dear friends in Dhamma, today is the second day of the Conversion New Year, 2023. Right at the beginning of the new year, we monks are here, nuns are not here yet, from different cities. And I would like to introduce these venerable monks and nuns to our audience. So today we are very fortunate to have the presence of the most venerable Yogavachara Rahula. We all know him very well, and people also know him very well. And it is such a joy for us to have his presence among us, and we can learn so much. And it's so fitting to have you, Bhante, as we are going to talk about the unity among different meditators. So warm welcome to you, Bhante. And then Bhante Yogavachara Rahula is joining the discussion from Washington, D.C. And then we have Venerable Trudeau joining the discussion from Florida, USA. And we have Venerable Pesala joining the discussion all the way from Sri Lanka. It's early morning for you. And welcome. And then we have Venerable Sumedha joining the discussion from Ottawa, Canada. And we have Venerable Shanta Sobana joining the discussion from Los Angeles, California. We have Venerable Bhante Kamalasri joining the discussion from Minnesota, USA. And we have Bhante Jinananda joining the discussion from Ottawa, Canada. And we are very happy to see a new nun all the way from Italy. Venerable Gautami Yadanar, your journey is pretty interesting. I see you were a young girl who was practicing Dhamma and meditation in Italy. Then you went to Myanmar, became a nun, and I think you have returned to Italy. So we have something interesting to learn from you, from your own experience as a Buddhist nun. Welcome to the discussion. And then we have Venerable Ananda Thero joining the discussion from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And we also have, Venerable Kumara Kassapa is also here. I hope you could have your video on so that people can see him. He's actually a very well-known young monk for giving the Dhamma talks, beautiful Dhamma, and people highly respect him. So it is a great joy to have Venerable Kumara Kassapa among us for today's English discussion. And we also have some lay people joining the discussion on Zoom platform. Warm welcome to all of you. Happy New Year to all the devotees. And also warm welcome to our friends of devotees who are watching this discussion on YouTube and Facebook Live. So last 2 years, we had very productive years during the COVID time. We monks and nuns discussed a lot of sutras, a lot of topics, various topics. And lay people around the world are highly appreciating this program. And this year also, we are determined to continue to have these bi-weekly discussions and for our own spiritual benefit and also for this spiritual benefit of the lay people. So dear friends, today our discussion is going to be based on a sutra. It's called Maha Chunda Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya. And we have titled the topic of the discussion as how to build a unity between different meditation practitioners. So I'm just wondering whether someone could give us a summary of this discourse. Actually, I have asked Bhante Kusala to do the job for us, but he has to do some chanting for some people here at our temple. If not, we can just go into the discussion about the key points of the sutta. And so I'm wondering whether Bhante Rahula could share with us some insights how to build the unity between different meditation practitioners. Bhante Rahula.
Well, thank you, and Happy New Year to all of you. Well, the sutra itself basically is seems to be a dialogue between monks who practice intensive meditation, practice the jhanas, or practice insight meditation, but basically devote to meditation. And then the others who are more into probably the intellectual studies, memorizing all the sutras, giving good Dhamma talks, and maybe doing, some rites and rituals, I don't know, in the sutra itself. But to bring it to a more contemporary time, I mean, in myself, I lived in Sri Lanka for about 10 years. And usually there was this same, kind of, it could be a tension, but maybe not. But anyway, between Grantha Dura and Vipassana Dura, or the same idea that there's the monks who are living in the forest, practicing meditation, trying to attain the paths and fruits of Nibbana and other benefits of deep meditation. And then the monks who are involved more in social work, going out preaching what they call Dana, Bana, Pansakula, and providing these services for the laity. And sometimes there was some, the forest monks thought that they were really practicing the Buddha's real way. And then the other monks said, well, but look at all these lay people that, they can't practice intensive meditation. They need this other form of, the Bana preaching and things to support their life. And so that's one thing in Sri Lanka, but also within my own experience too, I've traveled around a lot and I've stayed in Tibetan monasteries, Zen monasteries, and all these different traditions have their own practices of meditation. And of course, most of them regard their forms of meditation as being the best one, I suppose, or the real way to enlightenment. And but I think as meditators or as monks, we have to understand that everybody's different, and people are brought to different traditions based on perhaps their past karma to a large extent, or to other traditions. Like myself, my first meditation course was a Tibetan meditation course, but it hooked me on the Dhamma, and I really valued that Tibetan style meditation. But for some reason, I felt down inside that there was too much kind of glitter and hoopla around, saving all sentient beings and all these bodhisattvas and stuff is very complicated. So I was drawn to the Theravada tradition when I started reading the suttas and then the Vipassana meditation, and gradually I stopped doing the Tibetan practices and focused on what I'm doing now, the Vipassana practice primarily. So, but I still honor those and respect those other practices that I did because they got me hooked on Dhamma. So I think as practitioners, we have to allow other people, and respect other traditions, even though we might prefer our own particular tradition and think it might be the best way for us. But even in the Buddha's day, there was a lot of monks who practiced jhana and others who practiced more of the insight and, to attain the paths and the fruits. So I don't think they'll be able to ever, make one kind of Buddhist meditation. And I don't think it's really necessary. There's a saying, different strokes for different folks. And whatever helps them to get benefit, that kind of meditation is going to help them to a certain extent. It's like climbing a ladder. You might practice one form of meditation or do one form of practice, maybe just memorizing the intellectual part. It gets you a certain way, but at some point you may decide to change and to move on to, or your mind itself might then want to get more into it. So, I think, each person is going to find the practice that suits them, and they should follow that, but at the same time have respect for others. And I can go into other temples and sit in a temple, and others may be practicing what they do, and I practice what I do, and I don't find any conflict in it. And so that's just my opinion on this topic. And I think that both the intellectual, there's three types of wisdom: the Sutramaya Panya, the Chintamaya Panya, and the Bhavanamaya Panya. And so we need to integrate and balance all those. So it's good to have a good intellectual understanding of Dhamma, and also the lay people depend on us. So even if we are seriously devoted to meditation, we can still do a certain amount of this community service and participate in things like this, and go to danas even and things like that as we feel fit, and it doesn't have to really disturb our mind or so on. So that's the way, personally, that's the way that I balance my practice too. And like running a meditation center, I have to be involved in a certain amount of work and things like that. But still, I, don't neglect the meditation practice. And I also keep reading the suttas and over it, and to remember so many good parts of the suttas and balance that. And so that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you, Bhante Rahula, for sharing your insights and your experiences of different types of meditation practices. And I know among us, the venerable monks who are here, I know even Bhante Kamalasiri has been trying different meditation practices, going to India, and also Venerable Ananda Kalubovila, he's also doing the same thing, and Venerable Shanta Sobhana was doing the same thing. And so I know you have tried different types of meditation. Now we will get into the real discussion of our own experiences of trying different types of meditation practices. And lay people also trying different meditation techniques. And of course, there are Vipassana meditation, there are Zen meditation, there's Chan meditation, there's Son meditation. And now basically in the world, meditation known as a mindfulness meditation and insight meditation So now there are people even now they say, okay, this is the right meditation technique, and others are also saying no, that this is the right meditation technique. They may have their own arguments. So this is not something new to us today, because according to this sutta, the same discussion, same debate had been there even during the time of the Buddha and after the Buddha's time. Now there are two words there we see in the sutta, Mahachanda Sutta of the Anguttara Nikaya. Is called the Dhamma Yoga Bhikkhu and the Jaya Bhikkhu. Dhamma Yoga Bhikkhu, Jaya Bhikkhu, are these two types of monks? Are they Grantadura or the Vipassana Dura? Now, how do we understand these two types of monks, Dhamma Yoga Bhikkhu and the Jaya Bhikkhu? Can anyone talk about it? Venerable Pesala from Sri Lanka, please go ahead.
Teruvan Saranai Bhante, and could you hear me, Bhante?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I would like to wish all the Venerable Bhantes very happy New Year, and may Noble Triple bless all the monks and all the lay people. Bhante, this sutra is, as discussed, it's about this was happened just after the passing away of the Buddha. And
Okay.
this instruction as given by the Venerable Mahachunda Thera. He is the youngest youngest brother of the Venerable Sariputta Thera. He is also a very wise one. And the term Dhamma Yoga here means it is Bhante, it is the Dhamma Yoga bhikkhus having mostly the wisdom as the key factor. You know, there are 5 faculties, no? The Saddha, faith, Sati mean mindfulness, Virya mean determination, Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi mean concentration, and the, lastly, Panya is the wisdom, the 5 Indriyas. So out of those 5 Indriyas, these Dhamma Yoga bhikkhus having more Panya with compared to other faculties. So they mostly practice the Vipassana side. You know, the meditation also, there are 2 types of meditation, Samatha Pubbangama Vidarsana and Vidarsana Pubbangama Samatha. So the people who having much wisdom, they can practice Vipassana Pubbangama Samatha. Yeah, that means initially they, from the beginning, they practice Vipassana. You know, eventually they, secondly, they get the Samatha, little bit of Samatha, not like Jaya Bhikkhu, and they achieve the Nibbana. So they, once they get in the enlightenment, they known as Panya Vimukta Bhikkhu. Panya Vimukta means they touch the Nibbana with the wisdom. And the second type of monks, they do the Samatha Pubbangama Vipassana. That means initially they do the concentration, then they will achieve the form and formless jhanas, then they begin to do Vipassana and they achieve the enlightenment. They known as Ubato Bhaga enlightened beings. Like they have the 2 way of emancipation. First, they emancipated from the sensual pleasures by using jhana. Then the second step, they do the Vipassana and they get the complete liberation. So those 2 types of enlightened beings are available. So this is mentioning about them. And you know, that difference is there because in to addition to this sutta Bhante, there is another sutta. There are 500 enlightened beings are there amongst the time. Out of 500 bhikkhus, there are 180 monks. They were, you know, they practicing mostly the samatha. They were known as Ubhatobhaga enlightened beings. 320 monks, they do this Vipassana. That means even during the Buddha's time, most of the monks were the Panya Vimukta enlightened ones. So if we, I mean, what the lesson we can learn from this sutta for today's world, you know, mostly for the laities, to achieve jhana is not a because it's not a easy thing, because to achieve the first jhana, you need to vivicchaya kame mean you need to get away from the sensual pleasures, and vivicchaya mean you need to away from the unwholesome thoughts in your mind. Without doing that, we cannot achieve the jhana. So it's likewise as today's society, we hardly get the chance to meditate like that. So for them it is better, like when they can understand their wisdom is their level of wisdom, they can do this Dhamma Yogi way. I mean the Vipassana way. And they can, even they do have lots of commitment, still they can practice the path of meditation, like always considering about the 5 aggregates and 12 faculties, 6 sense bases, also the 18th elements. Wisely we have to contemplate on them. That is also one of the way of reaching to the Nibbana Bhante.
Yeah.
That is what I want to add, Bhante.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Venerable Pesala. You actually brought a lot of information. And I think our audience, even the Venerable monks and nuns, would greatly appreciate all the details you have shared with us. And in fact, I'm also grateful to you, Venerable Pesala, for recommending this sutta for today's discussion. And I think we all are very much into meditation and see whether the concentration or meditation tradition is the best, or the wisdom meditation tradition is the best. And so we can openly share our own experiences. So thank you, Venerable Pesala. Now next, Venerable Bhante Jinananda from Ottawa, Canada. What are your thoughts, Venerable Jinananda?
Thank you, Bhante Sarnapal, for the nice start for the year with the Dhamma discussion. I greeted everyone Happy New Year with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem, and I say it again for all the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis and lay followers who are in this discussion. I think certain things I was thinking to tell was very clearly explained by Bhikkhu Pesala from Sri Lanka, so I do not want to reiterate them. Anyway, I just want to say that this discussion during the time of the Buddha happened not in between or among those advanced monks who actually at least to practice the Buddha's teaching into a certain extent, in my understanding. Because when you look at the teaching very clearly, both are required into a greater extent. If you look at the Noble Eightfold Path, nobody can deny that samatha is irrelevant for the enlightenment. It is really required for someone to clear their mind from hustle, bustle, busy nature, and then when you get it, you would be able to go forward bravely and also with strong mind to practice anicca, dukkha, and anatta as said by the Buddha. And if you look at the Yogananda Sutta and elsewhere, you see very clearly that these two aspects are really important. And we don't see in the primary text that this division is done by the Buddha or any other monks in the teaching. It was a discussion between monks and nuns, even at the time of the Buddha, who were struggling for concentration as well as other ways of meditation. So if we follow the Arahants and the Buddha, from that example also, we can understand that both techniques, both the ways, vehicles are really important for us. So with that in mind, I just want to speak a lot of things about that. So as Bhante Rahula clearly explained, there are a lot of people who need a lot of practices on concentrating mind just to feel the meditation. At all, both are meditation. That's the very important point. So before you divide samatha and vipassana, just understand that they are about meditation. So if you do not accept the Buddha as your teacher, you are not to progress yourself in the teaching. And of course, reading some sort of necessary information help you concentrate your mind. And so if you look at the the way the Buddha explained piti, passaddhi as limbs for enlightenment, you understand how important the way to jhana. I have a lot to share, but this is at the very beginning that I draw your attention to these particular factors. And at last, I just want to say that when you come to any practice in Buddhism, first thing you would you would feel that, and there is a sense of unification of mind. And even if you take anicca dukkha anatta at the very beginning, with understanding, you can feel that the hindrances are slowly going from your mind. And those who meditate with any type of meditation feel that both ways are open and required, and we should be skillful in both ways.
Yeah.
So I think instead of making a kind of division, we just want to understand that both are required.
Yeah, I think that is what at the end of the sutta we see that the way to build unity among these two types of monks, the meditators, is to appreciate, right? That is to appreciate each other. I think that's the most important. We will come to that point. Now let's go to Venerable Kalubovila Ananda from Cambridge, Canada. What are your thoughts, Venerable Ananda?
Thank you, Bhante Sarnapala. In fact, thank you very much for organizing this bi-weekly discussion. It has been a wonderful discussion. I'm looking forward for it bi-weekly now.
Yeah.
And greetings, Bhante, Bhikkhunis, Bhikkhus, and wish you all a happy new year. Bhante, pertaining to this particular sutra, I think we are touching on two sides, the intellectual part of it and the meditative aspect of it. I think this has been an year-old discussion since the beginning of Buddha's time, and then in so many other generations as well. And like Bhante Rahula mentioned, that there are numerous paths and people take different paths. For example, even if we read a non-Theravadic book like Vimalakirti Sutra Nirdesha, the point that whether the Dutanga is so important or not has been criticized, very critically discoursed. So some believe that Dutanga is a useless practice, where Kadiravane Revatatera of Sariputta, brother of the Sariputta Thera, is practicing a Dutanga. I think Tudong means Dutanga as well so that has been looked down upon, and some believe that the intellectual discussion was the more important discussion, and jhana is a totally different way. My personal experience, I started Buddhism mostly from a more jhanic side. I was into meditation, and then I also went into a more philosophical side of Buddhism. And then I found that there are other ways of practicing Buddhism also, like, for example, if you go into tradition like Zen again originates from the word Chan and Dhyana, and then it has become Zen. So the branching outs of Zen, you find certain monks like the Laughing Buddha of China or Japan, who has an entirely different practice. So like Bhante Rahula said, each stroke for each fork, it's very dependent, very different. However, what happens is when we practice a particular practice, we sort of feel better about it. Even simple things like being a vegetarian. Now, I've been a vegetarian for about 10 years before I was a monk. And during that time, I also feel that people who are not eating meat are sort of not so good, that I'm a better person by being a vegetarian. So similarly, whenever we opt for a particular practice, we naturally feel that we are better. And that's, I think, the very nature of the ego-centeredness, the ego. That's the nature of the ego. And I think another interesting fact is that Dhamma Katika or intellectual versus meditative could be largely depending on your personality type. Now we have the modern psychology-based personality types, like certain people are more extroverted than introverted. A person who's more introverted, they say that extrovert people are naturally they have a better tendency to speak and communicate. They are better communicators. So it could be a reason again that you have your inborn personality traits, which translates translates and become your practice, and you opt and prefer based on your personality type. In fact, I think in Vishuddhi Magga and in many places, Pudgala Katha, that there are people specific practices that you can select based on your personality trait, whether it's a tanha based or more of a dhamma vichaya based. And also, Bhante, I think another very interesting fact, like Bhante mentioned again, the Sapta Bojjhanga. If you look at the Sapta Bojjhanga, I think it encapsulates all these different elements. Where if you are into more Preeti, Passaddhi or Samadhi, then you are more into the Dhyanic side. And if you are into Dhamma Vichaya, you are into a more intellectual side. And the nice thing with Sapta Bojjhanga is that Sapta Bojjhanga, all the 7 has to be done in unison, not only on focusing one of these things. And again, I think we will have this discussion forever until the Buddhism is there. Like I remember another sutra, Majjhya Sutra, where enlightened monks got together and they were discussing about the same fact, what is the best way, and each one of them had their own logic behind or reasoning behind why my way is better than the other way. So I think it's a very good thing. And I again find that sometimes when you get into discussions like that, what is better, sometimes you lose the friendship. So I think it's very important to be colliding and bombarding your ideas in an idea space, but not in a personal space. So that is what I think about this sutra, Bhante.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ananda. And I think that is the very reason maybe Buddha did not appoint a leader of the Sangha. Right? And Dhamma Vinaya is the leader of the Sangha. And whatever we could have different views, different points of views, but are these views, are these teachings in terms of the Dhamma? Like if we can, that's why I think in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta also, Buddha mentioned about that. You can always go back to the root and see whether it is according to Dhamma and Vinaya. So it's okay, as people say, we agree to disagree. It's okay to share our own views, but it should be based on the Dhamma and Vinaya. So thank you. Next, Venerable Shantasobana from Los Angeles. What are your thoughts, Venerable Shantasobana?
Thank you very much, Venerable Saranapala and all other monks, and I wish you all very happy New Year. And I would like to bring this topic to our day-to-day life, how we can apply it. And I'm here in Los Angeles, and sometimes I go to people and they ask, oh, this monk we heard they live in the forest, and what are you doing here in Los Angeles? Sometimes then I say, because I brought the message from the forest. So I think in this sutta, what we can see and how we how we can apply it to our day-to-day life. When it go to our the one of the sutta called this regarding Jata Sutta, the inner tangle and outer tangle. Sometimes, especially when it comes to this spiritual practice, we become trapped in our own spiritual path. So, and then we try to argue and we think that is the best, and we try to criticize others, and then sometimes we start to think that other people should believe what we practice. And that's what we see sometimes today with the social medias. And because when someone posts an idea, and a lot of people start to attack, and rather than seeing what it is, and most of people try to bring the ideas with the intention other people should believe that. So, but when it comes to this sutta, what we see that rather than criticizing, we can use that all the informations to develop our inner practice. Because when it comes to village monk and the forest monk, or the Grantha Dura and the Vipassana Dura, or the insight meditation and the tranquility meditation. So if we, rather than criticizing each other, if we can use the informations to develop our inner practice, it become a profitable skill itself for us to grow. So, and another thing is when it comes to the wisdom path, one of the important thing is the Srutame Jnana and opening to other wisdom, opening to others' ideas. So there is, when it comes to the nature, there is a law, it's called law of correspondence. So what you put into outside, it's going to bounce back. So if you criticize somebody, or if you criticize some idea, when it comes to, especially when it comes to meditation, if you try to resist, or if you try to criticize, if you try to go against something, there's no way that you can understand it. So according to this sutta, one of the best lessons that we can apply in day-to-day life in this society, so giving a space for others, and try to see what they see, and try to understand what they try to tell. And rather than overtaking, or rather than try to bring our own ideas, giving a space and opening our mind to other things, and sharing knowledge, especially when it comes to nowadays, there are a lot of meditation techniques, there are a lot of meditation practitioners. And it became a very kind of like a very marketing word nowadays. It's there are many techniques. People try to explain it different ways, and it's a lot of information keep coming to the society. So now people have different ideas. So the same situation, then people come, okay, what is right? So how this going to be? So then we can't say, oh, that is wrong. Oh, you have to practice only this. And sometimes we have to explain, maybe you can try it, but this is the way. And at the same time, and try to understand what it is. And once you understand what it is, if it is not right, it's not going to work for you. So then you know that. So rather than saying something wrong, giving opportunity to grow, and sharing and giving a space to allow it to grow, and itself, I think, give the idea what it is. So here, especially when it comes to the Vipassana and the tranquility meditation, and even as monks, sometimes I have a lot of experience with the practicing meditation, sometimes because we have to practice meditation with what we know. So then, that what we know came from somewhere we heard, or somewhere we learned. So then sometimes we need the help to get out of the monks whoever academically the master all the sutras, not just the practice. So then we can't criticize that. We have to, sometimes we have to accept it. So as example, one of the major arguments keep going still when it comes to the breathing meditation. Ujung kayang panidaya parimukang sating upattapetva. So what is the meaning of parimukha? That's mean in front of your nose or somewhere else. So then there are some monks, they are very smart to analyze all the sutras, like our Pesala. You know? So they can see, go deeper because they spend so much time with the sutras and they know the meanings. And when they go deeper into that understanding, and it helps for all other monks to sharp their practice. Another thing is when it comes to this Abhidhamma, and when you keep practicing the meditation, sometimes if you have the knowledge about the Abhidhamma, that will help you to correct your own practice sometimes. So rather than go against anything, use all the informations to develop your own inner practice. In that way, you will be helpful for others, and at the same time, you get the best out of from others. So in that way, your journey going to become more better, and at the same time, you have opportunity to share your things with other people also. Because if you criticize, if you go against something, what will happen? You are the one who creating a boundary to yourself. So then it is a spiritual practice. It happened deeper into us. And at the same time, socially, in day-to-day life, in this busy life, in this middle of Los Angeles, what I say always to people, even with the husband, wife, sometimes with the friends and families or the children at home, sometimes when people come with the certain ideas, they say, this is the right, everybody should agree to this, everything wrong. No, that doesn't work. Maybe it is right for you according to your point of view. Maybe other person also sees something, maybe which we can't understand. So give us space, give that all ideas to bring to the table and try to discuss and see. And then maybe you see something which you can't see yet. So that way, and you're going to become better person for other people, and other people feel more comfortable with you. That feeling comfort as a society is very expensive. So that is what we need to bring as a community of Sangha in this sutta, end of the sutta. That is what I think that it tried to bring, kind of like a feel comfortable to bring ideas and discuss. And that will help us to grow.
Yeah, at least it says, see the bright side,
That's
see the
right.
positive side of that practice. That is, and appreciate that. And I think you have brought up a very interesting point, like in how people love to criticize, and I think people also like to have divisions. You know, they like to divide. Okay, they want to showcase or show off we are the best people. You know, you're not. Rather than seeing the essence, the values of what they are doing. And in fact, modern neuroscience research shows that those who complain and criticize, they are not happy people, they're miserable people. Okay, thank you very much, Shanta Sobana, for sharing your thoughts. Next, Bante Kusala from Toronto. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Bante. Happy New Year to Mahasangha. Did any Bante mention about the Gosinga Sutta before I joined?
Not yet.
Okay. So I like to combine the Mahachunda Sutta with the Gosinga Sutta because in the Gosinga Sutta, I find the Buddha visiting 3 monks practicing in the forest, Bante Anuruddha, Bante Nandiya, and Bante Kimbila. And they receive the Buddha, and the Buddha begins asking some simple questions from them. In those questions, I find how monks should be living as a community. So these 5 things never leave my mind. One of the qualities is having samagga. Samagga means unity, living in concord. So concord is peaceful coexistence without criticizing anyone. And with that, you have another quality, sammodamana. Sammodamana is rejoicing each other, saying, look, this is a special monk. He has this kind of a name and he does these things. And you share and you lift up everyone's spirit. And the next quality is avivadamana. Avivadamana means without getting into an argument. So it's easy to get into an argument. This is the easy path. And the next quality is anyamanyanghi piyachakkuhi passanta. Looking at each other with pleasant eyes, kindful eyes, kindly eyes, piyachakkuhi. Because the way you look at a person, you can tell whether this person is angry at you or they hate you. And the last quality is kirodaki bhuta, blending like milk and water. This is a quality of being inseparable from each other. We all want each other to, in our day-to-day life, to continue the day and learn from each other and make our lives better. So these 5 qualities, the Buddha asks, do you live like this? And Venerable Anuruddha responds on behalf of the other 2 monks, and he says, yes, we do like that. So having lived this way, they achieve enlightenment. They go to the highest experience they can achieve. And they don't say it right away. The Buddha simply asks questions, what have you, how is your day-to-day life going, and what have you achieved so far? So Venerable Anuruddha responds, having abandoned 5 hindrances, sensual pleasures, we have reached this level, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and he goes on how he attained them and how he is abiding in these jhanas. And the other 2 monks are quiet, and the Buddha, when he learned from these monks, especially from Venerable Anuruddha, that they have achieved the arahantship and there is no more to achieve, the Buddha says, wonderful, 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 and he praised these monks and he leaves. And then the other 2 monks come to Anuruddha, Venerable Anuruddha, and says, did we ever report to you that, this achievement was achieved by me and this achievement was achieved by us? He said, no. Venerable Anuruddha said, no, you didn't have to tell me. I can see it from my own mind. And also the divine beings have reported to me that you have achieved these states. So they have not broken their vow of silence during their stay. Even if they were to bring some water, they would only signal from their hands. Even for such a little thing, they did not have to break their silence. So this way, they all have helped each other and they admire each other privately and publicly. This is an important quality. Privately, having thoughts of goodwill toward your community of monks. That way, you don't have a burden of carrying anger in you because it's weighing on you. And publicly too, when you speak with others, you are mindful whether you are getting into criticizing someone or whether you only say something nice about a person, because it's a reflection of your own being, your own mental state. It's like a mirror effect. You see yourself from the mirror. So from what you speak, others can measure the state of your well-being and mind. If you are angry towards someone, if you are critical and criticizing, karmically, it comes back at you because it's a part that needs to be healed in your own being. So I think the Gosinga Sutta tells us which ways we monks can practice and appreciate each other, whether you are a jhana monk or insight vipassana monk or monk of any practice. It doesn't matter. We appreciate each other. We help everyone to practice and admire the qualities they have. And inherit the Dhamma, like we previously discussed in the Dhammadaya, the discussion. We inherit the Dhamma, not anything else. Dhamma being the guide to all of us. That way we cultivate goodwill, kindness, and we have a pleasant experience in every day. I think that's a good reminder for us as we start a fresh year. It's 2nd of January already.
Yeah.
And with these principles that we are learning, I'm sure we can have an easy life. And I always believe the Buddha gave these instructions for us to live a comfortable life. Even the Vinaya is there for us monks to have a very beautiful life, free from burdens. It's not to restrict you, it is to help you. Sangha Pasutaya, for your convenience. So in that, the most important element is living peacefully, and from there you appreciate each other, you look at each other with kindly eyes, and you blend with each other like milk and water, and you don't get into arguments. So that way It is you who's going to be benefited from the beginning, from the get going.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Thank you. I think Bhante Kusala, you have brought up a very important and very interesting and deep essence of the Dhamma found in the Gosinga Sutta. I think that's the very reason why Buddha gave an open invitation to everyone, and Ehipasigo, come and see, see how we live, how we see, how we do it. And I think this is also in line with that sutta, that discussion that we monks and nuns from different cities, from different countries, come onto the Zoom platform, and we are looking at each other with kindful eyes. We are not debating, but we are sharing, and we have blended like milk and water, and so we see each other with the pleasant eyes. I think this is the best way to go. And from sharing your point of view, of course, we understand, and also people understand what we are trying to say, what we are trying to explain. And so this is the best way to go. So next, so thank you, Bhante Kusala. Next, let's go to Bhante Kamalasri from Minnesota. And I know, Bhante Kamalasri, you read a lot of Mahayana Sutras too. You have some interesting points to share with us. And so I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about this sutta?
Thank you so much. And I don't know, I'm not good in Mahayana Sutra, at least in Theravada Sutra also. But
At least Vimalakirti Nidresha Sutra.
Yeah. No, I like to use it as my handbook. I think all of the monks, they give nice explanations about the sutra and the environment or the background of this sutra. But I like to add a little bit in here, because there is another Mahachunda Sutra in Mahavagga, again Anguttara Nikaya. That is the meaning of that. The Venerable Chunda has had to discuss this topic again and again, because it has come controversial lecture, because that just after the Parinibbana. Then it is very important read together these two sutras and commentary. In the commentary, the second sutra mentioned very important thing. The commentary says this Jnanavada and Bhavana Vada or Jahai Vada, both are going towards to enlightenment. That is a very important thing.
Yeah.
Then just the Jnana Vada means it is not the reading books and doing research and getting degree or doctorate for Pali literature or something like that way. It is not not like that thing Jnana Vada means. It also something, another way to develop the mind and practice the mind. I think it is, we can understand the first sermon given to the Kondanya and the other the 5 monks. They didn't meditate any kind of, yeah. After the end of the sermon or teaching, he realized the first step of Sotapanna. I think we have to understand, or we have to get the explanation with the Jnanavada from that side. Not just only for the Grantha Dura or the academic that way. Then, as example, Bante, Santa Soban also mentioned that with the Parimukang Sating Upatavetta. That is my experience. Because of the mostly I asked for about the explanation about this. What is this? The Parimukang Sating Upatavetta from the meditative monks, from the Jai Bhikkhus. But the answer was not clear. But I got the clear answer from an academic monk. Yeah? It is clear for me. I think that is the truth way, the correct way to explain it. Yeah. So this both way is important for us in this for the Buddhism and the practice for the people, everybody, for us also. But the both time in the both sutras, Chundathero mentioned very important thing. The academic way or the meditative way or it is not trouble. Trouble is the craving, desire, jealous. Those are the trouble. Those are the troubles. So any way, if you practice any way, or you are not practice anything, but important thing, not to be craving, not to be jealous, not to be anger. That is the point. I think it is better if we can focus to that side. Then we can understand what is the purpose and background about this sutta. Thank you so much listening to me.
No, thank you, Bhante Kamaleswari. It's very clear in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta right at the beginning. The Satipatthana meditation, you call it or Jnanavada or Jaya Vada or Dhamma Yoga or Jaya Yoga. The purpose of the meditation is a Satthana, which is there to purify the mind, purification of the mind. So what taints our mind? In fact, those, as you said, the craving, desire, anger, even by debating, having arguments, could lead to cause a lot of negative emotions, negative thoughts to arise, the defilements, and they could cloud our mind. So what's really important is to practice the meditation, I guess. Thank you, Bhante. Next, Venerable Gautami from Italy is midnight for you, and I know you are a lay person, a young girl, showing great interest in Dhamma, and then you surprised me. You became a nun. I don't know when, and you went to Myanmar and meditated there. Now you have returned to Italy. So, what is your experience of different types of meditation in Myanmar?
So for me, being Myanmar was a very special experience, and it had been a dream since many years. I had always that thought in my mind that I wanted to be a nun at least once in my life. And that thought always came to my mind since many years. And finally, maybe my good karma helped me to realize that. And I had a very great experience there. I met many people who not only helped me in meditation, but they also helped me to grow up. I met new situations, different kind of people, different kind of environments. It helped me to become more mature. And actually, meanwhile I was in Myanmar, I had to say that I did a lot of mostly educational work. It means I was invited in seminars and talked to young people about the importance of Buddhism or how to practice Buddhism in our life and giving speech. I was more social, like I did more social works than meditation. I did not have even the time because I was like traveling every day. I did meditation, but not for such a long time because I was extremely busy in my schedule. But I did it very happily because my dream had always been doing missionary works. So I had a good ground to do that, and I had that idea. Actually, when I was in Myanmar, I ordained for temporary 1 month. Then I had a feeling that I wanted to go back to this life, so I ordained again 1 month ago, and hopefully for long term. I don't want to say forever. It is not, such thing as forever. It does not exist. Nothing is permanent. So my hope is to be none as long as I can.
Wonderful.
For now.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I know you also do some Facebook lives based on different sutras, and you're also doing a great job by explaining some sutras with your audience. So thank you for joining this discussion. I hope you would continue to join this bi-weekly sutra discussion with the monks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And next, Venerable Tridhar from Florida. What are your thoughts?
Salutations to all the venerables, most venerables, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, and nuns that is joining us today. Thank you for having me. Miss, by the way, if people do not know, Miss Yadanar has 50,000 followers on Facebook. Very influential for Gen Zoomers, because she represents the Gen Zoomers, and that's what we need to lead into Buddhism down the road. And she's playing a very vital, critical part in the monastic order as a whole. Today's discussion, I'd like to share with you all my experience in other types of meditations, including Mahamudra, the indestructible drop, and a few meditations from the Mahayana and Vajrayana practices. During my training, it was a very unique experience, as I think, and I will disclose this because I don't want to be controversial on this. I don't want anyone calling me out or not invite me to their temples. But I believe that, when I took my training, I was young and I was probably not ripened in the mind to receive such instructions. Therefore, I was confused at the time of the instructions given, and that I wasn't been able to apply it clinically to help me with depression, anxiety. And I believe that when the time is right, I will revisit again, of course, now brighter and more mindful and ready to receive instructions. A lot of instructions given there are so many factors: the meditator, the teacher, the experienced teacher, the authenticity of the teacher, the education of the teacher. All of these affect the meditative experience when you're sitting there trying to receive oral instructions. And it depends on the state of mind. People who are sitting at a monastery are dealing with depression, anxiety, bipolar, PTSD, all of the DSM-5, ICD-10 diagnosis. So therefore, a monk has to be extremely skilled when giving the instructions. I find it clearly everyone can see that I'm Theravada, even though it's funny, I still get Thai monks ask me, "Are you Theravada?" Okay. I have found that the Theravada tradition in its original form, the school of the elders, the instructions were simple, direct, to the point, has clinical implications, clinical applications, effectiveness and efficiency in its delivery, absorption, and results. Now, at the time of this talk, Austin Zilay, whom Venerable Sana, you saw Stephen, not Austin, but over the past 2 to 3 days, Austin Zilay, a good friend of mine who is not an active practitioner, who's not even Buddhist, tried guided meditation with me, and he was able to achieve great peace at a very high rate of speed. It just to show the possibility of lay people trying us out. And that's all I'm trying to say, is to try try out our samadhi, try out our vipassana to see how well it works out for you. We know from the comparisons of the different tradition is like, I believe Venerable Sopana said about the personalities types, that if you're analytical, like me and the rest of the few Theravada monks, we would choose Theravada. We're very analytical, we're very psychological. You look at the teachings, you look at the suttas, you realize, whoa. You look at Paticca Samuppada, and you could age another 20 years if a good monk don't explain it to you the right way. If you like art, then you would gravitate towards the Vajrayana tradition. Notice the mandala that they paint and all of these visualizations to help you achieve peace. Imaginary guided meditations to help you realize, to be like the Buddha, to be the Buddha right now, to imagine yourself as the Buddha. So it's a very unique approach. And of course, those who are geared towards missionary work like Ms. Gotami, and wanting to do good in society, and those who don't mind delaying your own enlightenment in helping others achieve so, would veer towards the Mahayana tradition. All three are very beautiful to me because it is not one that will fit all for the rest of you. Because again, where you're at in life, we have to meet you where you're at according to your age and stage, level of understanding, your level of growth and development, educational standards. There is the instructions given to Theravadan monks. It's a very long checklist when we meet with students one-on-one, and to properly select that to be your Kalyanamitta, to be your wise, good friend. So, I just want everyone to take all of these into account in the details of it, and to do your research wisely, and and experience for yourself. The one thing about Buddhism is that the Buddha challenges us to an open invitation, like Venerable Saranampala said, an open invitation to test out as the scientist you are, the scientist that you can be, to see if you do in fact achieve peace, to see that you do in fact mitigate and lessen your greed, lessen your anger, and lessening the ignorance of the Four Noble Truth. And the commonality across these traditions is that we agree on the Four Noble Truth. We agree on the Noble Eightfold Path. It's just the practices sometimes varies. And it is beautiful because it varies. It's beautiful because of the diversity. And with neuroscience now, you see the neurodiversity of people and their minds. But yeah, I just wanted to contribute to today's discussion in that regards, and I hope everyone wander around, because monasteries are very welcoming, very warm. The image of the Buddha, everything as a whole is there to help you progress more peacefully, especially for the new year. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Venerable Trudeau. And I see in the chat there's a conversation going on. I think it's Venerable Jinananda. Let's focus on what common listeners get from this discussion. In my view, it would be really nice if at least 3 people go to try on Samatha Vipassana practice together, or one after the other. Now, I think I was going to ask this question from Venerable Yoga Rahula. He's gone. Venerable Jinananda, what are your thoughts?
Actually, thank you all the venerable monks for nice contribution, and I just want to draw attention on something very important. First of all, I just want to request from Bhante Sanrapala to have the same topic for the next discussion, or with a different title, have the same discussion going on, because it's really important. Because at the end, people ask questions about meditation, and it is one place where many people are stuck on, so that it would be really nice if we can delve into the topic and discuss more on detail. So today, in my view, we have been discussing both type of meditation, and we didn't go to details of any of those things. So yes, I just want to add here that that the Buddha, when you look at the meditation tradition without division, you can see that both factors are required. And in my understanding, there are two techniques, samatha and vipassana. The results of both techniques is samadhi and panya. So samatha is the technique and samadhi is the result, and vipassana is the technique and panya is the result. So that at the end, how the Buddha explained nirvana, you can see both are required. Sabba sankara samato, sabba upadipati nisaggo, tanhakka virago nibbana. So nibbana is defined in such a way that both techniques should be there in order to have both results, so that nibbana is a culmination of both ends. That is reiterated in the Dhammapada. If you go to Dhammapada, you can find very deep teaching in a simplest form. Bhante Gunaratana, mostly known as Bhante Ji, started all the Dhamma meditation session or at end meditation session by reciting this stanza, Natti janang apanyasa panya natti ajayato yamhi janancha panyancha save nibbana samtige. If there is anyone who get closer to nirvana, they all practice both samatha and vipassana. And we cannot speak about samadhi or samatha without wisdom. And wisdom is not there as well with the absence of samatha and samadhi. So that it is very clear that we need to get into both practice. So this is what I want to add last, because I am mindful about the time. Suppose we talk about Four Noble Truths or Paticcasamuppada, dependent co-origination. So they are very deep, appear to be deep as well as deep. However, when you recite the Paticcasamuppada from the very beginning, your mind gets concentration. The very word concentration may not be the best word for explaining samadhi, but let me use it because that is how common people go. When you recite Paticcasamuppada or read about Four Noble Truths, your mind get naturally inclined into samadhi. So you are dealing with something very deep related to vipassana. So you get samatha and samadhi as a result of that. So that just like the river, we call the Buddhist path, what we call middle path, is a stream. We cannot tell the teaching of the Buddha, particularly the Noble Eightfold Path stream, without one bank. In a river, you have two banks. So if there is no one bank, it's not a river anymore. It's not a stream anymore. So when we talk about the path to nirvana is a stream, there should be two banks. Likewise, both samadhi and panya or samatha and vipassana should go together. So at least, even with this, in my personal way, we haven't dived into both sections in details for common people to get something more on this. And as I mentioned, people tend to meditate on either way, so that they get. So Bhante, my kind request for you is to have the same discussion again.
Yeah, maybe you can recommend us a few more sutras where we can find some more information, details, and based on those sutras, we can have the same discussion to add more insights. Thank you, Bhante Jinananda. Next, Venerable Sumedha, you raised your hand. What are your thoughts on today's sutta?
Yeah, actually, this is my first time to sharing my ideas with this platform. So in my point of view about meditation, so there is we can use as a unique word, right? So if it is not, you are trying to do meditation, so that would be your mind is going to control you totally, right? So last day, that point, I was grasped while I was speaking with one of the Buddhist monk. So I asked, what are you doing nowadays? So he said that nowadays I'm practicing recollection of death meditation, which is Marananusati Bhavana. So, and then I asked him, when you are practicing recollection of death meditation, sometimes your mind is going to be extremism side, right? It's you are going to like extremism side. So, and then he add new things for that. When you are meditate, when you are doing meditation, whatever type of meditation, you have to add mindfulness, mindfulness to all the way, any types of meditations, right? So that was again yesterday. That was a new experience for me. Actually, there's a common mistake because in the society, some people are doing wrong meditation types. We can see some people are due to wrong meditation types, they are they cannot control their minds. So that's what I wanted to say. And also I want to ask what's the meaning of not ask, I want to briefly explain about what's the meaning of meditation. That is, we are trying to control our mind, right? Otherwise, mind is going to control us. So that's what, in briefly, share my ideas in this platform at the very first time. That's very pleasure to share my ideas with you.
Thank you. You did a good job. That's why we are running this bi-weekly Sutra discussion, to encourage the young monks like you to come onto the platform to share your experiences, and it's very important. And as you said, if you don't control your mind is going to control you. That is a beautiful thought. So thank you, Venerable Sumedha. Venerable Pesula, did you raise your hand to share?
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah.
Sorry for your time consuming, Bhante, because I have missed a very important part of this sutta. That's why I'm asking again the time.
Yeah.
Bhante, at last, Mahachunda Thera asked the monks, what is the reason for you respecting to other traditions? Because it is said for Jahai, as Dhammayoga Bhikkhu, we must respect the Jahai Bhikkhu. That is because it is said in Pali, Bhante, Acharya hete ausu puggala dullabo lokasmin ye amatan dhatu khayana pusitva viharanti. That means, Bhante, those who practice Jhana, they reach the Nibbana with the support of Jhana. So people very rare in the world. So that is why as Vipassana or the Dhammayoga Bhikkhu, we must respect the Jahai Bhikkhu. And also for the Jahai Bhikkhu, it is said, Acharyo hete ausu puggala dullabo lokasmin ye gambhiran atthapadam panyaya ativicca passanti. Why, as Jahai Bhikkhu, they should respect to the Vipassana Bhikkhu or the Dhammayoga Bhikkhu, because Gambhirang Attapada means the very subtle, the meaning of the teachings. The wise one or the Dhammayoga Bhikkhu, they touch the Nibbana with the wisdom. So that is, the kind of people also are very rare in the world. That is why two types of people are very rare in the world. That's why we have to respect each other. The Chundate at last explained nicely in this way. So that's what I want to add this. Otherwise, I feel incomplete and guilty.
Yeah. No, yeah, thank you very much, Pesala. That's the key part. You could argue, you could debate, but he's encouraging we should see them as someone who is practicing the way to Nibbana. And I think that is the key part of this discussion. Thank you. And Venerable Gautami, did you raise your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would like to add something about my insight of this sutta, because I forgot to say that. Meanwhile, it was my turn to talk. So what I find very interesting of this sutta is that it does not only actually the lesson that is there, it actually does not only only apply in the monastic life, but also in our interpersonal relationships. Because the Buddha that gives us this lesson, which means we had to highlight and appreciate the good points of others. So, for example, as the Buddha encouraged the Dhamma Yoga, the Dhamma expert monks, to exalt and appreciate the meditator monks for their insight and for their high meditation knowledge and their very advanced practice. And at the same time, the Buddha tells to the meditator monks to appreciate the knowledge, the high knowledge and wisdom of the Dhamma Yoga. So it means that actually the Buddha is like he's a peacemaker between people that have different ideas and different thoughts. And this is also, because the topic was actually how to connect different meditator practitioners, right? And if we run a school or we run a meditation center or a monastery as masters, as teachers, what we should do is that to encourage each other and encourage the different students to encourage each other and highlight the good points and not to criticize the weaknesses of others. Because there is also one thing is that when we exalt and when we appreciate others, we are already on that way to get rid of our egos, our ego. For example, in the same way, when we donate to others, we slowly get rid of our attachments. So if we learn to appreciate others' good points and to encourage others to do good and not putting other people down, we are also starting our practice to get rid of our ego. So I think that this sutta is fantastic, not only to learn how to approach monks or nuns that may have different practice ideas, but also how we can create a harmonious environment in around us.
Yeah, I think that's what exactly Bhante Kusala pointed out based on the sutta, in the sutta. And it's very important for us to be mindful of that part, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Venerable Gautami. Venerable Shantasubara, did you raise your hand to share more experience? We have 5 more minutes.
Okay, so thank you. Actually, what I want to bring here, especially when it comes to meditation practice, one of the important thing that each and every newcomer is totally different. It's not like the whatever the teacher practice or the whatever the teacher follow, maybe not going to work exactly the same way for the newcomer. So if the teacher is more open-minded, and it will help for the students to develop their path. So even when it comes to during Buddha's time, there are different monks attain to enlightenment in different ways, like Venerable Chakkupala, Venerable Chullapantaka, and Venerable Daruchirya, and the Venerable Patachara, Nan Patachara. So they attain to enlightenment in different ways. So that's mean, and their personal character also important for this path. For some monks, maybe for some students, especially when they come to us, some students, they can calm down their mind very easily, and they are so analytical. But for some students, they need some kind of practice in the beginning to calm down their mind, to develop the tranquility state. So somehow, rather than the struggling with the path, if both the students and the monk, the teacher have the ability to focus to gain the result and develop the mind and get out of all the defilement or the improfitable skills, and that will help for end of the day, that will help to get the good result out of the practice. But so in day-to-day life, especially when it comes to us, that mostly we have this inner nature, the jealousy and the it's always kind of like a dividing things, comparison. So that sometimes affect deeply for our spiritual practice. So I think through this sutra, we can understand how we need to keep the balance in between our own practice, and at the same time, especially when a newcomer come, and we have to build up a clear foundation for them to go their journey and gain the good result. So that is one of the important thing, because the character, understanding the character is very necessary when it comes to this kind of practice. From what kind of background they come, and what sometimes we have kind of like inside that the hidden character we don't see. So maybe for that, if we just struggling with the technique or the path, maybe it doesn't work for that person. So that's why that keeping the open mind and giving opportunity and allowing other person to practice independently a little bit and see how the result come will help, especially when it comes to meditation practice.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. I think we have highlighted a lot of the Dhamma points today because of this the Chunda Sutta, which brings a debate between the two groups of monks, highly talking about themselves and not appreciating, but at the end they are showing us a way, that there's a way to appreciate each other. No matter what technique, what practice we are doing this practice with one good intention, that is the realization of Nibbana. So at least someone is experiencing a huge relief, even for the time being, whatever the technique is. I think when we look in, read the Visuddhimagga, where we see the 40 types of meditation techniques. Now, as Venerable Sumedha highlighted, the monk who practices Marananusati, the reflection on the death, and he has a point of practicing that meditation technique, and it's helping him. And also those who have the same type of characteristic personality, now imagine they do the same practice, that practice would help them gain liberation from their own struggles. And so no matter what technique we practice, but if it is based on the Dhamma expounded by the Buddha, and then I think that practice will lead to what we are trying to achieve in our life. So I'm very grateful to all the Venerable monks and nuns for sharing your insights, your knowledge, and your experience, bringing light and hope to the people who watched us today, who are going to watch this program later. And this is the best beginning of the year 2023. And we will continue to discuss this. Even today, this was also form of meditation practice for us. This was the Dhammanupassana. And of course, I also have a tendency of appreciate highly talking about this discussion. And so I always encourage people. And sometimes I may have a tendency, no, this is the best platform to come and discuss the Dhamma. But there could be other platforms who are discussing the Dhamma in different way. So if we can see the value and the essence of what they are doing, and then my misunderstanding, will disappear. So this is the best way to go, and I'm very grateful to all of you. So now let us wind this up by reciting the Patimokkha verses. I don't know whether any monk would be interested in reciting these verses today. Otherwise, okay, nobody's raising hand.
I just need more practice on how to do it the way how you guys do it. So maybe next time.
Okay. So let us do it together.
So I will do it. Okay.
Okay, Venerable Santasobana, please.
Kanti paramang tapo titikka nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha nahi pabbajito parupagati samano hoti parang vihetayanto sabba papassa akaranang කුසලස්ස උපසම්පදා සචිත්ත පරියෝදපනං ඒතං බුද්ධාන ශාසනං අනුපවාදෝ අනුපගාතෝ පාතිමොක්කේච සංවරෝ මත් Tanyutaca battasmin pantanca sayanasanam adicitteca saayogo etam buddhana sasanam.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Venerable Santasobana, reciting the three important verses of the Buddha. So we are going to meet again in 2 weeks' time. Until then, I would like to share our merits with all of you, and also share the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha with all of you for your health and safety throughout this year, throughout your life. May Devas, the divine beings, continue to protect and guard you with the divine blessings for your health and safety. Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukhitata. May all sentient beings be well, happy, and peaceful. So thank you. Good night from Canada. I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. Okay, bye-bye.